Hi, I'm Kathy. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm not a gourmet chef. I don't own a restaurant. I don't work at a restaurant. But I like taking recipes and adding my little twist to them to make them special. I especially like recipes that make enough servings to give you multiple meals during the week. Since I work full-time and I train for speed walking events, I want to eat dinner when I get home, probably much like you do. And this is the perfect recipe. It takes some prep time and some simmering time, but it's definitely worth the wait. And you'll have enough for meals for the week. In other words, it's a weekend recipe. Let's get started. Using your sausages are great on the grill, but what else can you make with them? I found the recipe that we're going to make today in the Using Your Cookbook and then made some modifications. It's so good on a cold winter night, and it tastes even better the next day after the ingredients have settled into a hearty stew. First of all, we start with a large pot, and I'm talking you're going to need a large pot. This is a 12-quart pot because you have a lot of ingredients that you're going to be adding. It's basically a dump, pour in the pot, and then we put it on the stove. First of all, you start with the chicken broth. You're going to need 2 boxes of chicken broth, and I actually use 1.5 in the stew to start out, and I save about 1/2 of a box for something that we'll be talking about in a few minutes. You've now finished pouring the chicken broth into the pot, and now it's ready. Now you're ready to add the other ingredients. First of all, we start with the sausage. I choose to use Andouille and Chorizo in this recipe. The recipe originally called for kielbasa, but this is one of the modifications that I've made. By the way, most of Using Your sausages are gluten-free. You have the potatoes, which are chunked. We have green peppers, which are diced. We have slices of carrots. We had onions. We had diced tomatoes. And today we're using a salsa-style diced tomato. I've used fire-roasted diced tomato. It just gives a little bit more flavor. Kidney beans and garbanzo beans. Before I put these in, I drain them, and then I also rinse them off. And why do I rinse them off? Because that's what my mom does. The other thing you add is cabbage, and the easiest way to do the cabbage I found is actually buy containers or the packages of coleslaw. The cabbage is already cut and it's ready to pour into the pot. So before we add the cabbage to the pot, we're going to actually add the garlic. The garlic and seasonings are personal preferences. The recipe doesn't really give you an amount. I'm using 3 tablespoons of garlic, and because I've got other things in there that have got flavor in it, I'm pretty confident that's a good amount. Salt and pepper, I just would be careful as how much salt you add, just because the fact that if you're using chicken broth with MSG in it or with salt in it, you might already have some salt in it. And with pepper, basically the same idea, you're going to use that to taste. Next thing we're going to add is the cabbage. I told you we're using the coleslaw idea because it's much faster. And this is going to go in, and then you just stir, and it will really, really cook down because it's going to be here for 3 hours. And the cabbage gives it a little bit more thickness. So get that in. And then what you want to do is you want to take the rest of your chicken broth and cover all of this with water and chicken broth so that the ingredients are all under. And then we're going to let this simmer for 3 hours, and we're going to come back and see what it looks like at that time. So the Portuguese soup has been cooking now for about 3 hours, so we need to take a look and see how things are going. Wow, look at this. See how much it's cooked down? And the cabbage, as it breaks down, helps to make the soup thicker. So now we're ready to serve. This recipe is easy. You're chopping, dumping into a pot, stirring, and enjoying. Plus, it makes a lot of servings, so you'll have Portuguese soup for the week ahead. You can find my version, Cathy's Portuguese soup, on the Using Your website. Or you might try making a different version and adding Using Your bacon to yours. For Using Your's famous sausage, this is Cathy. Go ahead, you can make this.